how'd you get involved in Bluegrass Lending?
We do traditional funding, but the majority of clients won't qualify for it.
How do you differentiate yourself? Because it's a crowded space.
The first funding that I ever did was only $3,500. The largest funding I've done to date is $1.15 million in one deal.
For a business owner, what advice would you give them?
SBAs, term loans, lines of credit.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Serial Entrepreneur. Today's guest, Mr. Thaddius Voss of Bluegrass Lending. So excited to have Thaddius on the podcast with me. I met Thaddius probably about a month ago. He was in here recording with someone else. I'm not sure who you were recording with. Were you Cameron?
It was probably a couple months ago.
Was it a couple months ago?
I've been in here a few times.
Okay, so. Yeah. Thaddius is a regular podcast guy.
As of recently. It's new to me within the past few months.
Cool.
So.
Well, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I'm looking forward to learning more. You've given me bits and pieces in passing, right, out here as you've kind of come and gone, and so I'm really interested to learn more about your business and all the things. But before we do that, tell me a little bit about Thaddius Voss. Are you from here? Are you born and raised here? Where were you born and raised? Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. What's up?
Yeah, from Louisville.
Okay.
I went to Trinity, then went to UK. So, and I've since then traveled all over the place, and I kept trying to run from Louisville, and it kept pulling me back. So, ended up moving back here full time about a year ago. Bought a house. So that's fun. I still travel quite a bit, but I was trying to kind of make things work in Florida, then make things work in New York, then make things work in just different places. And I don't know what it was, just Louisville kept calling me back. And now now that we're doing these podcasts and things, and I'm starting to build on my business from a personal branding standpoint, I'm actually starting to really lean into Louisville. Yeah. Because I think it's a market that needs some excitement and needs some fun opportunities for people to work in, and it's kind of feeds into what we do. But on top of that, it's like the big little city, right? So you get to meet a lot of people really fast, I feel like, and get your name around quicker than a big city like New York. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, my family and I just visited New York a couple of months ago, and dude, it's wild.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's freaking wild. I would not want to live there. So kudos to you for trying it. I would never want to live in New York. But,
yeah.
So grew up in Louisville, went to Trinity, went to UK. How old are you?
I'm 29.
29. And so you any sports or anything growing up? What were you into as a kid growing up?
Football, powerlifting. I mean, I played basically everything, but what I took seriously was football, powerlifting.
Well, that makes sense. Trinity, football, that kind of goes hand in hand. So how many state championships did you all win while you were there?
Well, I unfortunately had to quit when I was a sophomore due to injuries.
Oh, okay.
But that year we won a state championship. It was actually the year that we were ranked on Max Preps and ESPN. So that was the year that I quit. But we might have run all 4 years. I don't remember. It was just every year.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like when I went to PRP, and I think all the years that I was at PRP, we had a crazy good baseball program. And I think every year that we were there, they were, they were winning state championships. It was pretty wild. So, so your business, Bluegrass Lending, is that your business? You started it? Or tell me your involvement. How'd you get involved in Bluegrass Lending?
Yeah, so I, just decided I wanted to take the biggest risk that I could and went up to Wall Street right out of college. So while being on Wall Street, I was doing exactly what I'm doing now, just for another firm. And then COVID took place, and through all of that turmoil, I had a friend that wanted me to come home and just basically, he had the infrastructure, he had the sales reps. He just wanted my expertise on closing because I had seen one of the biggest firms in America in this particular field. It's not a big field. It's like a newer niche.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dive more into it because I gotta better understand your niche.
For sure.
So
well, anyways, came home 3 months later. Me and him, no falling out, just had some different strategies that we wanted to implement. I ended up buying them out. So I own Bluegrass. There's another piece of the business where we do our in-house funding, which is called Lionheart Funding. So, we'll probably get into what the differences are between those two. And then we're trying to, maybe this can be the soft launch, but we're releasing something new, and that is more of an educational component to this. So that's part of the reason why the branding is becoming so important and why I'm being featured on these podcasts, because I'm, trying to get the word out there on other people around America that can be involved within this business. And then ultimately all three of these businesses will work hand in hand.
Okay.
So
we'll talk more about that. Talk more about how to, I guess give us the value proposition for Bluegrass Lending. I mean, like, so what are you guys doing, and who's the target demographic? Who are you guys going after, and how are you helping people? How are you serving people?
Right. So we do business financing,
okay,
typically debt financing for small businesses, but we try to couple it with all different types of services just to help the business owner succeed. And it's a lot of creative financing. So we'll dovetail together like SBAs, term loans, lines of credit. Alternative financing is going to encompass merchant cash advance, which can be the higher interest rate stuff, which is what a lot of business owners are qualifying for. And then you got like credit repair, bookkeeping services, things of that nature. So we want to kind of blend these products together to help that small business grow, and a lot of cold calling. So, but Bluegrass Lending is considered a brokerage shop. So we're doing broad solicitations, touching as many clients as we can. Sales reps are going to be matchmaking them with the best approval that they can get. And then there's a commission right there on that matchmaking process. And then if the client, we see something that we like within the client, we'll give them our cash. And that's where Lionheart Funding comes into play. We have assets under management. We fund them with our own cash. Our broker's cash goes into it. It's like their 401k program, except it has much higher returns. And then we also have a fund that we invite money from other syndicates to come in. So that's the 10,000 foot view.
Okay. So most of your, so you're doing business funding, right? And so are these mostly kind of, your newer startup type companies, or are they, I guess it would be more targeted towards companies that may not qualify for traditional funding? Is that fair to say, or is that incorrect?
We do traditional funding.
Okay.
But the majority of clients won't qualify for it. It's very asset backed. And a lot of people just don't have assets to put as collateral for their business financing.
Okay.
They might be a small business that's just kind of getting up and off the ground, and they just don't have that backing to be able to do so, which is why they come to us for alternative stuff. But we also help bigger businesses, like more medium-sized businesses, with asset-backed products. But again, we couple them together. We don't do startups. We can do new business. So like I would say 6 months is kind of our minimum. But a lot of the financing that we do, whether it's asset-backed or traditional, they're going to need a longer time in business. And then the other component's going to be revenue-based financing. So we're basically purchasing future receivables from them. We need to have revenue on file to project what that revenue will be in the future for us to purchase from. So if it's a startup, there's no revenue for us to make our estimates on. So I would say 6 months is the minimum, but like typically we want a year time in business. So newer businesses.
Okay. So help me, and I'll kind of bring this all back together. But so like in the receivables, like, you're advancing the receivables for a business. Like, for example, I own multiple companies. One of them is a tax software company, and every year there's probably 5 to 10 of my tax offices that come to me and want me to help them with, what I call like capital assistance, right? So, it's this time of year, tax season is not yet upon us. Christmas is here. They're reopening their office for next season, and there's not going to be any revenue coming in until probably the end of February. So they're trying to survive until the end of February.
Right.
So they, and it's kind of like crack, man. Like it's like they get a little piece of it, 1 year, and you think it's not going to be a 1 year thing. It's like they just keep coming back every year around the same time, saying, "Hey, can we do that capital?" It's almost like they count on it.
So you loan your money.
So I loan my own, money.
Nice.
In the form of, I call it capital assistance
note or something.
I call it capital assistance, and then I don't charge like I charge what's called an origination fee.
Yeah.
on whatever that amount is. So if they're getting 10 grand, I charge them an 18% origination fee. So, $1,800. So we collect 11.8 from their future receivables. So it's a receivables assistance program type setup.
Okay.
But I hate lending. I don't like I don't want to be in the lending business. So it's just interesting that, and then even the banks that we work with within that tax industry, they offer similar products, because what they're doing is all of these offices have revenue. They have customers that are going to come in and file their taxes, but the money's not going to be here until, like I said, the end of February, March, April timeframe. So it's kind of a short term. I mean, they're like maybe like 6-month deals.
Yeah.
On capital, but maybe there's an opportunity to work together on that.
Tons of synergy.
Yeah.
Why do you say you don't like lending?
It's just for me. And then again, maybe if I had better systems in place.
Yeah.
If I had better systems in place to actually keep track of it, but it's like I'm moving, going, 10 different areas, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose track of something, and I'm going to forget that I gave, it's like I don't have a good tracking system for it.
Right.
And now I have made some investments in both personnel, and then I've also have made some investments in some software to try and help, better account for those things.
Oh yeah.
So I may become more comfortable with it in the future, because I love 18% over the course of, a 3 to 6 month loan. That works for me.
Fantastic.
I can get behind that, but it's never been. And if you looked at my agreements, like, I don't know how strong my agreements are. Again, it's not my business, right? It's not my core business. So I'm always fearful that maybe violating something or not doing something correctly. And that's probably the biggest concern.
Yeah. What you might be, who knows, but it doesn't matter, because it's on a small scale, right?
Yeah.
Like we're loaning, anywhere from, we're probably averaging like between $3 and $4 million a month that we're loaning out.
Okay.
That's on balance sheet.
Okay.
Broker transactions like exceeding $10 million per month. So, it's definitely a bigger scale. However, what I love so much about the lending space is that compounding interest effect. So you look at, those models where it's like, if you start investing when you're 20 as opposed to starting investing when you're 30,
right,
and you look at the compounding interest just in something as simple as an index fund. Well, the cool thing about lending is, regardless of what your terms are, it could be a 10-year term, it could be a 3-month term, you're going to be acquiring payments from that loan.
Yes.
Well, as those payments come back in, what are you going to do with them? You're not going to just sit them in a side account. I want to roll that back out. So as the money starts coming in, I get to go and purchase new opportunities for new loans or new purchases of future receivable, and I get to compound that interest into new deals. So as I'm getting those repayments to come back, I'm floating them out in other places. And that's why I think that the lending industry is so powerful. Even Jamie Dimon started in like subprime lending. So similar stuff to what you do and similar stuff to what I do.
Okay.
But I think that's what the coolest part about the brokerage shop is like, we started the brokerage shop because, obviously we all wanted to be in business to make money, right? On top of that, it feels good to be able to help small businesses grow.
Right.
And we're making good commission checks from that. Well, what do you do with that? Right. And so what we do is we compare this industry to like, real estate prior to the 2008 housing market crash. We compare it to like stock brokering before, like penny stocks, before there was like the Wolf of Wall Street where things got taken advantage of, to personal loans before, or consumer loans before there was like usury issues on a state-by-state basis. So we're like in this unregulated area. And we get the opportunity to not only get high ticket commissions, but then we also have the lending piece. So we actually think that our industry right now, it's the hottest industry on Wall Street. It doesn't only have that astronomical opportunity from the high ticket piece that you're seeing from those three industries that I just described to you, but there's even a more powerful end on the other side that not only are you getting those high ticket commissions, you also get to invest, and those investments compound so quickly. So that's why we love what we do, because it's like you're taking two of those industries and jamming them together, the opportunity from both. So there's just like a whole nother piece to it.
So you've got one side of the business where you're looking for small business owners that are looking for funding. And then it sounds like you have this other piece of the business where, you you allow for, I guess, I mean, do you call it investor? I mean, you allow for investors to place money with you guys that then eventually gets lent out, and then you pay an interest rate on that, or is that
exactly like syndicating on a real estate deal?
Yeah.
So they'll bring us money. We charge a fee to manage their cash. That cash goes out on the street. The benefit to it for us is, let's say I want to write a $500,000 deal in one deal.
Okay.
I might want to go in $100,000, $200,000 on balance sheet, but I don't want to go in the full 500 because it's just too many eggs in one basket. So then we take investors' money to kind of build up and diversify. We might have 10K here, 20K there, 50K there, 100K here, and we'll allocate for that full 500,000, and then we have the ability to write that note, right? So we're just kind of coupling these funds together. That way we can achieve a higher dollar amount for our clients that are growing. So, it started off doing like the first funding that I ever did was only $3,500. The largest funding I've done to date is $1.15 million in one deal. So it just grows over time.
Okay. So for the sake of listeners that are, obviously if you're a small business owner and you're looking for funding and you have historical revenues and you've got a profitable business and things of that nature, then they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Even if you're having struggles with your profit margins, like we can still help you out. And that's part of the reason why we have bookkeeping services, is so we can help you kind of be that consultant that's going to hopefully steer you in the right direction with your profits.
Yeah.
That's why we have credit repair services, because we want to help fix your credit. That way you can get better interest rates, better products, whatever it is.
Yeah. Are you familiar with my business, Tradeline Services? Have I told you about that?
I don't think so.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. So Tradeline
credit enhancement of some sort, right?
Yeah. So Tradeline Services. This is a great story. Actually, I'm in the software business. That's like my primary business. But gosh, this was back in 2017. I was trying to sell software to someone, and this guy completely was blowing me off. He had zero interest in buying my software. So I just kind of folded up my stuff, sat it down on the table, and said, okay, tell me what you're doing. What are you into? He's like, oh, I'm doing trade lines and I'm doing lending. I was like, okay, know what lending is. What the heck is a trade line?
Yeah.
And so he explained what a trade line was. And, he's like, yeah, trade lines. He goes, authorized user trade lines. And he goes, people add people to your credit card account as an authorized user to help them build credit. And my first question was, is that legal? And they said, absolutely. Yes, that's legal. You can do that. And I said, okay, well, I've got a trade line and I'll add your users to my trade line. So I started working with this company, and I was adding about 10 to 20 users a month.
Really?
Just working with this one company. And I only had one card. I mean, I wasn't in the trade line business at that point. I just
a little extra side money.
Yeah. I just happened to have a credit card account. So I was doing that, and that rolled for probably 9 months, something like that. And then eventually the bank, I'm not going to mention the bank's name, but eventually the issuing bank on that credit card, on that trade line account was like, hey, you're abusing the authorized user privileges on this card, and they shut my account down.
Oh, wow.
So then I lost my one trade line that was, it was generating.
Probably hurt your credit.
No, it did negatively impact my credit a little bit, because anytime you close a trade line, that's why I encourage you never close a trade line.
Put a dollar on there.
Even if you're not using it, just keep the trade line open. Number one, because you can make some money with it. But number two, if you close that account, it's going to negatively impact your credit because you lose all the history. Right. So anyway, that was kind of my start with trade lines. I mean, I was making $150 an order.
Yeah.
And I was doing 10 to 20 orders a month. And it literally took me like 60 seconds to log into my account and add a user.
Right.
It was no big deal. And I was
But it took years to build up the trade line.
Yeah, it took years to build up the trade line. And it is an asset. But eventually what happened when I lost my trade line, that kind of sent me scrambling. And I went and shoulder tapped like a bunch of buddies, like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I lost my trade line, but I've got a company that'll order with you. So I started brokering.
There you go.
I started brokering trade lines. So basically I'd go out and I'd find people that had trade lines that want to make some extra cash, make some easy extra cash. and they would put trade lines in inventory with me, and then I would work as the middleman between that transaction with that. And that's really how Tradeline Services started, was just me, acting at, I would collect the card holders, and then I would find the resellers that want to buy the card. And so I just marry the two. So that's what Tradeline Services does now is we've got just shy of 200 trade lines in inventory.
Nice.
We'll process, we process somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 a month of trade line orders.
Nice.
And we've helped thousands of people over the last, several years, boost their credit, so that they can get a better rate on a loan, or they
mortgage,
can
car loan.
Mortgage, car loan. They can, rent an apartment, whatever it is. Right. So, it's really a lot of fun. It's a business that I'm not terribly involved with anymore. I've got a new CEO that runs Tradeline Services, who came from the credit repair space. He was my largest customer. Like, he bought more trade lines from me than anyone else. Yeah. And so, I'm trying to get a little bit of freedom of time on my side, trying to free up some space, some margin in my life. And, so when I was thinking about like what to do with Tradeline Services, I reached out to this individual. His name's Dennis, and so he's now Dennis Plaxon. He's the new CEO of Tradeline Services, and he's phenomenal. He knows the credit space, and obviously he knows the trade line space because he's been buying them from me for years. But yeah, it's really cool, man. I mean, there's a lot of cool applications with that. I mean, I've got a ministry that I'm involved with, where guys are getting out of prison and they're trying to kind of reestablish themselves, like relaunch in society. And one of the things I do is I take them, none of them have credit. Right. And I take them and I get them, a 750 credit score, by adding them as authorized users on my trade lines, just to help them boost their credit, because they don't have anyone to help them with that. Right. So that's kind of, and I don't charge those guys anything, but the business as a whole, that's what we do is we broker trade lines. We bring together people that own good trade lines that want to help people. And, with people that are trying to establish and build credit that don't have family or friends or, people that can help them for free. So they're willing to pay us to marry the two together. So it's a fun business. That's awesome. A lot of synergy. I mean, there's a lot of credit is super important when it comes down. So the good thing about us is credit is very important for the traditional products. It's not as important to us for the unsecured products or the revenue-based products, but it will dictate your term quite a bit, right? So we'll get you an approval, but like better your credit is, the longer that approval is going to be in many instances. So definitely has a delta there that can really help the small business owner, increase that term length for that payment. Yeah, I mean, we've worked with a lot of lenders, different mortgage brokers over the years, and just by adding, you might spend $600 on a trade line, but at the end of the day, you're getting a point better on your fixed mortgage for 30 years. Then saves you a ton of money. I mean, after 3 or 4 months, you've basically, paid for the trade line, and so it's just a great way to help people, and it's kind of a, talk about niche market. It's just kind of a little niche market that I found that it was like, wow, that's interesting that you can do that. And sorry, I got kind of derailed with talking about Tradeline Services, but definitely a lot of synergy there. Just so you know that, hey, if we can ever help in any way, absolutely, with any lenders that you guys are working with, that'd be awesome. We'd love to do it. So most of your marketing efforts, I mean, as a business owner, I get a ton of emails. I get a ton of emails like on a daily basis from, hey, you're pre-approved for this, or you're pre-qualified for this, or you want funding and, $150,000, you're approved, or, $500,000, you're approved. It's just could be us. Straight up. Absolutely. Okay. So, and again, it's like, man, but for me I guess coach me on that, because for me as a business owner, like, I just look at that stuff as garbage because I get so much of it. Right. So how does someone as a business owner weed through all the crap that they get via email to find, someone like Bluegrass Lending or whomever to to help them get their business funding.
Absolutely. I think web presence is really important. I think reviews, Better Business Bureau, Trustpilot, whatever it is, Google, Facebook reviews. There's a lot of players out there, and the positive and negative about this industry is there's a very low barrier to entry. So there's no licensing that's required. People can pick up a phone from their house and start dialing. The thing is, you want to make sure that you're working with ethical salesmen. Now, any industry that you have with some sales, I mean, you could be selling steel, you could be flipping burgers, doesn't matter. Like, does anything that you sell something, selling food, you have the opportunity to be unethical. You could, fabricate any type of details about the product. You can just be misleading in some type of way. And I feel like the benchmark or the baseline, for like unethical is just a smidgen higher in the lending space. It can be. And so it's important that you find a group of people that's really going to take care of you and make your business better. The opportunities for commissions in this space are vast. And so what that does is it creates kind of like a scenario where people might do things that could be unethical to get that one paycheck. However, that is just such a small-minded way to think about doing business, because we have about an 80% renewing client basis, and
that's awesome.
Renewing clients don't cost us any money.
Yeah.
Right. So those marketing campaigns that we're running, and we're doing campaigns for recruitment, we're doing campaigns for clients, we're doing campaigns on campaigns, a lot of marketing. That's what it's been my last, 12 to 24 months, is learning all this stuff, because I didn't know how to do it. Once they do come in, I might lose money on the original marketing efforts to get that client to come in. However, where we typically make our margins is because the client's going to return to us, and it costs us much less money to actually facilitate a renewal for that client, or, just facilitate another product, than it is to get a new client. So with that being said, I think leading with ethics and leading with the opportunity of really putting your business owner in the best place to succeed not only makes you more money, but more importantly, if the business owner's income increases, their loan sizes get bigger, which means that we take home more commission from that paycheck, right? Yeah. So, I think you really got to do a good job at vetting through the individuals that are, sending you that marketing, those marketing messages. And it's tough at the beginning. It really is. And there's not enough branding from this space. I think the biggest players that are branding right now are direct funders. And that's great, but the direct funders only have one credit box, right? So there's kind of a lack in the industry of proper marketing and branding representing brokerage firms. And so that's where a piece of what we're trying so hard to do is get our name out there. No one knows who you are, what you do, until you get your name out there. Right. Because we want to lead with ethics. We want to make sure that we take care of the client. We want to make sure that they can stick with us. They have some friends in the industry that they can trust and that actually cares about their business, because the more that you grow, the more that we grow. We're inherently aligned. You just have to think about the long-term vision rather than the short-term vision.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about marketing. So it sounds like you've been trying a lot of different things as of late. What would you, for a business owner, what advice would you give them? What types of marketing have you found to be most effective for what you're doing?
Email marketing is the cheapest. So if you can hone in on email marketing, you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Meta is better than Google from what I see, but it's very expensive. It's really expensive. You talk about potentially losing money on the first time that the client funds with you. Like Meta will potentially do that for you. SMS marketing is really solid, but it's like such a TCPA nightmare. You have to be super careful about it. So making sure that you have proper opt-ins and things of that nature. But honestly, just making videos like this has gotten us clients as well. So it's funny too, because like we are trying our best to shift into more of a marketing centric company, and we are getting closer and closer to there every single day. But our number one channel is straight cold calling. Like, it is by far the most profitable channel, and that's where we can afford to pay really high commission rates to our sales reps. So, but it's dirty work that people don't want to do, right? So
cold calling is miserable.
When you can get over that hump and like make it fun and build a culture around it, it's very lucrative, not only for the company but also for the people that are working there, because we can afford to pay really high commission rates under that structure. But you call Chase Bank and you want to talk to a customer service agent. or excuse me, let's back up. You call Chase Bank and you have a problem with your credit card. Are you going to sit there and talk to the robot? Or are you going to press 0 immediately and try to talk to the customer service agent?
Yeah.
And that's some of our rebuttals. People say, hey, send us an email. And we're like, you tell you want to talk to the robot or you want to talk to the person? Every answer that you need, I have for you right now. And being able to get past the screen, whether what type of digital marketing that is, and getting on the phone with the client. And listen, people are apt to saying no. Like they want to say no to solicitors. But if you can overcome that first layer, maybe 1, 2, or 3 no's, and then you can actually start to peel back the onion, cold calling is the most powerful tool that you can do. More importantly, it breeds good closers. Now, we are still leaning really heavily into marketing, but no one's going to have access to that marketing unless they cold call first. Because we think it breeds
how are
good
you
sales
getting
reps.
How are you getting your list how are you getting your list for your cold calling campaigns? Are you just buying those lists? Or?
Oh yeah, there's vendors all over the place for basically any type of list that you want. So it takes a little while to learn how to wade through the waters, and there's definitely some sunk costs that come along with it, but you'll find your groove.
Now, is your call center, is it local, or is it outsourced, or are these people in-house?
The people that are cold calling predominantly are American. Yes, they are all in the U.S. and they are college educated in a lot of instances, and they got some hustle to them. But the commissions are so large that it makes sense. It's kind of like playing the lottery. It's like every phone call that I make, I could end up making 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. More of the inbound leads are actually going overseas for us, because what we're doing is we're casting a really wide net. We're generating between 1,000 and 2,000 leads a week, but they're not qualified. So then we're using the overseas guys to qualify the leads for us and then bring them back in. So,
gotcha. So, and as far as the Americans or the local folks, are they all remote? Are they centrally located somewhere, or?
We have some people that work remote, but it's like very limited. The remote work is great for opening and for obtaining applications, and there's definitely money that can be made. But if you really want to progress with the company, there's a glass ceiling of what being remote can do. So we think that being in an office can help you develop your closing ability and help develop your opportunities to syndicate. But remote work definitely works. It's just not our model now, but we're trying to transition a little bit more towards that model, which is what we're doing with a lot of the recordings that we're doing, because it is very doable to do this remote, but there's an accountability aspect to it that's very, you have to be very self-motivated to cold call from your house.
Where's your office is at?
We have one in Kentucky, and then we have one in New York, and then we have one in Arizona.
Okay. Got it. So people that are in, young hustlers that are in Kentucky, New York, or Arizona, you guys, you're always looking for good closers, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, give me 3 things. Like, tell me the top 3 things as far as, from a, how do you differentiate yourself? Because it's a crowded space, right? So what are you all doing, or how are you differentiating yourself out in such a crowded marketplace?
I don't think it's that crowded.
You don't think it's that crowded?
If you ask some of my sales reps, I think they'll say it is, but we're not even regulated yet. What do you mean? Like, we're not even close to being overcrowded yet. I just have a very abundant mentality about the whole thing.
Yeah. I
think it's the hottest market that there is on the planet right now. More importantly, I think we're literally riding this tidal wave of opportunity. It's just, there's so much more that can come from this place. But I get it. Maybe someone like yourself is getting a lot of solicitations, so maybe it seems like it's a crowded market.
It does seem crowded for me, because I do get a lot of stinking emails about it. But
right.
Maybe, that's it. It's a great attitude.
I really believe it's not
as a leader of your organization, you could not have answered that question any better.
Yeah.
Because again, the last thing you want is a bunch of people making excuses. Well, it's crowded space. Like, how are we going to differentiate ourselves?
People don't even know about it.
Yeah.
How is it going to be crowded?
Yeah.
You didn't even know about this space until today. So how is it going to be overcrowded? You know what I'm saying?
As I've learned more about, the space, I've got, I've got a lot of, my wheels are spinning, as far as opportunities to kind of team up with you.
Absolutely.
And, because you talk about a space where this type of service is needed. is certainly within the tax industry where we primarily operate. So,
well, what you really got to think about is all those clients that those tax companies are servicing.
yeah,
They're all probably asking their CPAs or their bookkeepers, hey, I really need money to either grow the business or because something fearful is happening, like I need to make payroll this week. Either way, if you need something that's a long-term product and you're willing to go through the steps to get it, great. If you need something that within 24 hours, we have that option for you too. So, there's opportunities for referrals. We pay very high dollar amounts for referrals.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at, brother. I'm
absolutely.
like, I mean, I'm kind of in the space of like, how do I team up with you, who's, definitely way more advanced than I am as far as lending money. And then, all it takes from me is to send out a notification like, hey, we've got a new partner, Bluegrass Lending, that if you're looking for some funding leading into tax season, here's who you call.
Listen, you get to pad your account with income or with money, and then you get to write off the interest. It's like no better time to borrow than in December. So I don't know when this is going to air, but.
Yeah, well, they'll get it up pretty quick. But
okay.
So tell me, like, what's next? What I guess, what's your, 1 year, 5 year into the future forecasting? Where do you see yourself going?
Well, I just want to keep having fun. That's number one.
Okay.
I want to make sure that it sometimes the journey feels like work, and that's when you kind of got to reinvent yourself a little bit. You got to keep it fun, keep it light. The next step is to really bring education to the market. I think that people don't know what this space is, and I think pre-regulation, it's so easy to get into. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not concerned about regulation. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it in some areas. It's going to make some areas of the business more difficult. It's going to make some of the areas of the business much easier.
Yeah.
Okay, because there are some bad players that can kind of give this space a bad name. However, if we can partner up with people that are motivated, hungry, and that actually want to help small businesses, we want to provide that educational material to the U.S. market to get people to start hopefully being able to, start doing lending on their own, start cold calling from their houses, just get them into the space. And then if they still need help, they can come to us to either help them close the deals, or they can broker deals to us as the in-house funder. So there's all these synergies here. It's either they learn how to do it and they start their own shop and there's some goodwill value that we help them do it, or if they need extra help along the way, they can partner up with us as affiliates or partner up with us as ISOs, which is called independent sales organizations, basically companies that broker deals to us.
Yeah.
So that's stage 3.
Okay.
That's what we're trying to get into.
I love the first thing you said, have fun, because, life's too short to be doing something that you don't enjoy. So,
right.
Definitely have fun with it. It's not, your passion for what you're doing is just very obvious. And so kudos to you for, finding something that you enjoy and something that you're passionate about. That's better than most, right? So as far as, you're 29 years old, you got a lot of opportunities ahead and a lot of things that you can do. And I said, I'm excited that I've learned more simply because I see a ton of synergy. Number one, I want to get you linked up with Dennis Plaxton, who's my CEO of Tradeline Services, because I want to make sure that you guys have access to our Tradeline inventory if we can ever be of assistance in that area. But then number two, I think the tax space and helping these independent tax offices get funding is a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
And so we've got right now we've got about 85 locations, just my company alone. And then we're getting ready to, we're looking at merging with another entity that has like 220 locations, and we're, so we'd have 300 offices potentially that would be, available and possibly looking for funding. And that's just two companies in a very crowded industry. There's a lot of, there's a lot of companies that do what we do.
Right.
But go ahead.
Well, you were saying, like, how do you stand out, right? And it's that trust factor, it's that ethics factor, and I hope that we can put that out there. But the best clients are the ones that have a warm introduction to us.
Yeah.
And so, you're already working with a trusted professional like a CPA or a lawyer, and we have some CPAs, lawyers, investment bankers, people in private equity, just these individual family offices even that are investing in small businesses, but on occasion they need debt financing that's a little bit more creative. These are some of our best referral partners, and we pay them gobs of money just to send us the file, and we take care of everything from A to Z after the full submission comes in. And they're allowed to be involved with every step of the process. Some of them even charge like side fees and stuff like that to get the product done. But, there's just a lot of opportunity there in terms of the referral business.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, I've had a blast getting to know more about, your business and everything that you're doing, and looking forward to just, further advancing the relationship and hopefully helping you expand your business. And, for me, like, I'm always looking for value-added services or additional tools that I can put in my belt to be able to offer to the people that I serve. Because, the amount of times I get a phone call, people looking for funding. Hey, Jason, do you know anyone that does funding? Jason, do you know anyone that does funding? I get that phone call all the time. So now I've got a trusted source that I can send them to. So this is awesome.
There you go.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on. And yeah, guys, if you, again, actually before we bug out, so let everyone know how to find you, how to get a hold of you, if they are looking for business funding, or if they're an investor and want to be involved on, maybe on some of the syndicate side, let them know how to get a hold of you.
So from an application standpoint, if you want to go direct for business funding, you can apply at bluegrasslending.com. Okay. There's going to be an apply button. If you want to get a hold of me personally, don't give out my personal information, but you can hit me up on Instagram. It's at Thaddius, THADDEUS _Voss, V as in Victor, OSS _. Fortunately, didn't get the Thaddius _Voss, just clean, but you can hit me there. And in terms of investors, I guess I have to find a better portal to be able to do that. But I would just hit me up on Instagram.
Hit you up on Instagram.
Yeah, because we have opportunities for you to apply direct on our in-house platform as well, but it's not like an investor. It's like, for small businesses. So just hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah. When you hit him up on Instagram, make sure you tag the Serial Entrepreneur Podcast.
There we go.
So he knows, hey,
there we go.
That podcast helped me out.
We can give you some credit.
Yeah.
Work something out.
All right, buddy. Well, it's been fun, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.